Okay, so our final card is the tulip card, and I'll show you what my sample looks like. So here it is. You pull it out. You can write your message right in here. If you have more that you want to write, you could put another sheet of white on the back and write more. And then it just slips in like that. And this actually fits into a normal size regular A4 envelope. So I will show you how I made it. I don't really have a template that I can sort of explain on how to make it. I just use a piece of cardboard and I basically just traced it out and then I cut it. And then then I scored this at 3.5, and then I turned around and scored this at 3.5 as well. So when you get your kit, what I would suggest is just, if you want to make your own template, just open it up and then trace it out onto like a piece of cardstock, and then next time you'll have it. So this is what I have here. I used a different embossing folder than the one that comes in your kit. And I'm just gonna grab some ribbon here. So this is the white, what do they call it? The crinkle seam binding ribbon. And what I did to get the color on it is I just took one of my blends. So I'll grab this one here. This is Calypso Coral. And I just basically, on my sample I used Highland Heather, but I thought maybe I'll try a different color. So I'm using a different color, coloring in there. I don't know if that's long enough. I don't think it is. So we'll just color a little more. So with this seam binding ribbon, you can actually color it whatever color you want. Now I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to take my flower pot and basically I'm just going to tie a bow, or you can, so for this you can either tie a bow or you can tie a knot. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to attempt to tie a bow, but if not, if that doesn't work out, then it'll just be a knot. So let's see if we can do it. Just make sure you do it really tight, because this is what's going to hold your flower pot together. Wow, that is not a pretty bow. Let's see if we can fix this a little. Oh my goodness. There's the other end here. Yikes. Just goes to show it doesn't always work out perfectly when you're filming a video. There we go. I think that's as good as it's going to get for right now. So I'm just going to trim off a bit of the end. There we go. So here's our flower pot with the ribbon. The ribbon is holding our flower pot together, so you can see, and then that's where you're going to slide the card in. So next we're going to take our cardstock here. This is Crumb Cake, and it is 2.5 by 4.25. And then this is 2.25 by 4. And what I'm going to do, is I'm going to stamp this piece here, and I'm using a stamp from the stamp set Timeless Tulips. I'm using this stamp right here, and I'm going to use, oops, let's get that off. I'm going to use Blushing Bride. So I'm just going to stamp some tulips along the side. There you go. And again, you don't have to stamp the inside, or you can stamp like a sentiment on the inside. It's up to you. So now we're just gonna glue that down. And if you want extra space to write for your card, because this is the space that you'd be writing on, just flip it to the back and you can cut out another white sheet and you can put it on there. So you have lots of options. Okay, so then my next step is to make sure that your card fits into a regular size envelope. What I do is I take a regular size envelope, and as I'm putting my tulips on, I'm just gonna make sure that it doesn't go past that envelope. So I'm gonna grab my dimensionals. And for the two tulips that are sort of like right at the bottom, I put dimensionals on there so that it sort of pops up a little, and that way you can make sure that your flower pot goes in properly. So I'm gonna keep that flower pot there. I have different color tulips here, so don't worry if they're slightly different than what you have in your kit. Again, I'm just sort of showing you how to put it all together. So we'll put this one right about there. Next, we're gonna throw on some leaves. And I have some bits and pieces here, so I'm just gonna use my Tombow glue, slide that in there. Grab another tulip. So these tulips were from the DSP, what was it called? All punched up, or sorry, I'll have it later in my description because I don't remember what it's called. I'm just gonna add this. Let's hide that so you don't see, so that you can't tell that it's just a half. Let's see if we can fit that in there. And again, I'm just gonna hold it up against my envelope just to make sure that it will still fit in the envelope once we're done. And then again, we're going to throw some leaves in there. And then let's do a final tulip right there. So and I'm just gonna try to slip it in right there. Again, I'm gonna hold it up to my envelope just to make sure everything fits. Again, let's throw another leaf in there. So there we go. I think I'm happy with that. So then the next part is we're gonna take, in your kit you have these little sprigs, and what I did on my sample is I just cut them in half like this. And then we're just gonna sort of wiggle those in there as well to our card. Stick one there. Stick one there. And like I said, it's really kind of random where you put it. It's not a huge deal. But you get the idea. So there we have our tulips in the pot. We pull it out. It's perfect. Then we're going to stamp our sentiment, and I'm just going to take the sentiment from Timeless Tulip. This one says hello, and I'm going to use some black ink. I'm going to use our Memento. It's my go-to black. And stamp that there. Perfect. And next I'm going to take my banner punch. I love this punch. I can't live without it. And we're just going to snip the end over there. Snip the end over there. And then I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back here. And I'm going to take that. And I'm going to put that on right there. Like that. There we go. And then we're going to take it and we're just going to put it on our flower pot. And this would make a great Mother's Day card as well, or a birthday card. I mean, you change the sentiment and it could be any kind of card. It could be an Easter card. And it's just really fun kind of spring card. And I think, what else do we have on my original card, which I now can't seem to find, but there you go. So here's our finished card with our little flower pot. Voila! Thanks for stopping by, and everyone stay safe.